Listen closely. Right now, at this exact second, a silent execution is happening. It is a mass casualty event that dwarfs every war and every natural disaster in human history. It kills 100,000 people every single day. That is more than twice the sum of every car crash, every accident, and every murder on the planet combined. We see the bodies, but we do not see the crime. We call it natural. We call it the circle of life. For centuries, we have been trapped in a psychological trance, rationalizing a daily massacre as if it were a poetic necessity. But the reality is, it is a design flaw. While you pay for sick care to treat the symptoms, the global financial system is quietly hedging its bets on your expiration date. The banks, the insurance giants, they have turned your decline into a trillion-dollar gambling floor. They call this longevity risk. I call it the ultimate betrayal. You are being farmed for your decay until the very second you become too expensive to keep alive. Look closer. The clock is not just ticking, it is being manipulated. Silicon Valley and Wall Street are in a race to solve the death of death, but they are not doing it for you. They are doing it to save the casino. This is the truth about the immortal apathy. It started with a noble dream. It ended as a weapon. Welcome to the end of the human expiration date. But before the expiration date became a financial weapon, it was a lonely dream. Consider this for a second. Humanity did not always accept death as a natural end. Long before the silicon chips, there were the dreamers. In the winter of 1888, a physician named Charles Stevens looked at the stars from a small town in Norway, Maine. He did not see a divine plan. He saw a technical error that needed a solution. Stevens built a laboratory to decode the biology of aging. He believed that if we could understand why cells fail, we could stop the massacre. He was looking for a cure for grief. Centuries before him, a Venetian nobleman named Luigi Cornaro reached the same conclusion. In 1558, he published his treatise on the sober life. He realized that the human body was a machine that we simply did not know how to maintain. These men were the original architects of the long life. They saw a future where a man could see his great-grandchildren grow old. For them, longevity was about wisdom and legacy, not about quarterly profits or insurance premium. Look closely at the intent. In 1667, royal physicians even tried to transfuse the blood of sheep into men. It was desperate, it was dangerous, but it was driven by the most human instinct we have, the refusal to go quietly into the night. Back then, the clock was a mystery to be solved. We were looking for the key to the human engine. We wanted to extend the golden hour of our lives, but somewhere along the way, the noble intent was hijacked. We thought we were building a bridge to a better future, a world where age did not mean decay. But as the science matured, the bookkeepers noticed something. They realized that a human who does not die is a human who keeps costing money. The dream of the 19th century became the data of the 21st. The noble laboratory in Maine is now a historical footnote. Today, the quest for life is managed by algorithms and actuarial tables. The warm glow of nostalgia is fading. Here is the truth. The system stopped caring about your health and started calculating your risk. This is where the modern crime begins. Step out of the warm light of history and into the cold reality of the ledger. That blue screen you see is not just a tool. It is a window into a $27 trillion economy that views your heartbeat as a liability. Economists and insurance giants have a specific name for the threat you pose to their stability. They call it longevity risk. It sounds like a medical term, but it is a financial sentence. Consider this for a second. Imagine you are at a casino. You placed a bet with the house that you would die at 80, and they priced your payouts based on that timeline. But then you hit 100. Suddenly, the casino owes you 20 years of extra cash. The house is going bankrupt because you refused to die on schedule. In the eyes of the US government and every private pension fund, you are the man who won too much. This is longevity risk. It is the catastrophic exposure that governments face when populations experience an unexpected decrease in mortality. To them, your health is a design flaw in their budget. But here is the crime. While the system bets against your life, it simultaneously starves the research that could save it. The NIH historically allocates a microscopic 0.32% of its budget to the fundamental biology of aging. Look at the numbers. Slowing down aging by just a single year would generate $38 trillion in global economic value. We are talking about the greatest wealth transfer in history, but it is being hoarded. Today, elite concierge clinics charge up to $50,000 a year for executive physicals. They map your genome, monitor your biological age, and preemptively halt your decay. They are buying extra decades of life while you are stuck in the waiting room. Let's be brutally honest. Your 401k, your Medicare, and your Social Security are all structurally betting on your expiration date. If you live just 3 years longer than expected, private pension liabilities in the has spiked by 9%. By the year 2060, a mere 2.2-year increase in life expectancy could add $420 billion to the federal deficit. The system is terrified of your survival, and that fear has created a monster. Wall Street has literally commoditized your death. Investment banks have created longevity swaps and mortality indices. They are trading the risk of you living too long, like they trade oil or gold. I know it is exhausting to realize that you are just a line on a spreadsheet, a risk to be hedged. We are all tired of a system that only cares about our health when it threatens the bottom line. Think about the zombie cell. In biology, this is a cell that refuses to die, hoarding resources and poisoning the healthy tissue around it. Our financial system has become that cell. It is a legacy machine, clinging to an old model of. Here is the truth. If the financial sector ties your biological age to your insurance premiums, the wealthy will buy immortality while you are priced out of survival. This is not a conspiracy. It is an actuarial certainty. 100,000 people die today, while the market for their life reaches $27 trillion. We are living through the modern crime, where your time is stolen before you even get to use it. They have turned the biological clock into a ticking time bomb for the global economy. But the question is, what happens when the bomb finally goes off? What happens to the human soul in a world that never ends? We have arrived at the horizon. Beyond the ledgers and beyond the banks lies a terrifying biological landscape. If we solve the death of death, we do not just change how long we live, we change what it means to be human. Imagine a world where the average lifespan is 1,000 years. It sounds like a dream until you look at the math. In a world of immortals, the right to live indefinitely clashes violently with the right to breathe. Overpopulation would not just be a crisis, it would be a death sentence for the planet. Governments would be forced to implement draconian reproductive policies. You might have to choose between your own immortality and the right to have a child. But there is a deeper horror. Psychologists call it the tedium of immortality. Think about it. Human meaning, passion, and urgency are all fueled by the awareness of our end. We act because our time is finite. If you have 1,000 years, why do anything today? Why fall in love? Why create art? When forever becomes the baseline, ambition turns into apathy. We risk becoming a civilization of ghosts trapped in a permanent state of later. This creates the ultimate biological caste system, an elite class, the 0.01%, who can afford to reset their biological clocks every decade, and a permanent underclass living in the shadow of eternal wealth. Here is the Socratic reveal. The system has already decided you are more valuable dead than alive. While we talk about living forever, Wall Street has already perfected the longevity swap. They are literally gambling on your expiration date right now. You see the trap. The same institutions that want to sell you the cure for aging are the ones who have commoditized your mortality. They have built a financial web that requires you to vanish, so their dividends can survive. If this continues, humanity faces a demographic rupture. We will be led by a class of ancient AI CEOs who have not felt the urgency of a human lifespan in 300 years. Innovation will die because the old will never make room for the new. We are trading our souls for a biological subscription model. Look at your life. Is it the length that matters or the depth? The AI does not care. The ledger does not care. They only see an asset that refuses to depreciate. The apathy assassin is this. If you think this does not affect you, check your insurance premium. Check your credit score. The system is already calculating how much forever you can afford. And for most of us, the answer is zero. We are at the edge of the Christopher Nolan climax of our own history. The erasure of biological death threatens the very thing that makes us move. It destroys the death awareness that forced us to find meaning in the first place. So we ask the final question. If we kill death, do we also kill the human spirit? Are we ready to live in a world where nothing ever ends except our ability to care? The clock is broken and the future is wide open. Let's take a breath. I know, dealing with these invisible walls is exhausting. You are tired of a system that treats you like a ticking liability. We all are. We are burnt out by a medical paradigm that only notices us when we are already broken. For decades, we have survived in a sick care system. We spend the last 10 to 15 years of our lives fighting a war of attrition against cancer, Alzheimer's, and decay. We have been drained, physically and financially, by the slow crawl of old age. But the tide is turning. Look closely at the shift. The WHO has finally updated the global medical playbook by adding aging-associated decline to the ICD-11. They have officially reclassified aging as a treatable pathology. This is the hope spike. Scientists call it compression of morbidity. The goal is no longer just to live longer, but to live perfectly healthy until the very end. Imagine 80 years of vitality, followed by a quick, painless exit. No lingering, no suffering. This is the longevity dividend. By treating the root cause of aging instead of chasing individual diseases, we save trillions of dollars. But more importantly, we save ourselves. We rescue entire generations from the slow rot of the modern clinic. The casino is losing its grip. When health becomes a right and not a subscription, the financial bets on your death collapse. We move from being liabilities to being assets of wisdom. The focus shifts from the length of the ledger to the depth of the experience. The future is not about escaping death. It is about reclaiming life. You are not a number. You are not a risk factor. You are the architect of your own time. Look at the horizon. The clock is finally in your hand. The end of the expiration date is just the beginning. Choose life. Every second of it